Welcome to the AI Coach by Anil Nathu.
Great to be here.
Today, we're taking a really fascinating deep dive, looking into how AI is changing, quite rapidly.
Yeah, it's not just a tool anymore, is it? It's really evolving into something that can learn by itself.
Exactly, learning and crucially, teaching. That's what we want to unpack today.
We've been looking at excerpts from Learning, a comprehensive roadmap to AI-powered education in 2025 AI Coach. And the big takeaway is this shift.
A shift beyond just automation.
Precisely. AI starting to acquire knowledge on its own independently, and then figuring out how to impart that knowledge effectively.
So it's not just smarter software, it's more like a whole new way learning itself might happen.
That's the idea, a real paradigm shift.
Okay, so our mission today, really guided by the insights from the AI Coach, is to pull out the most important lessons about this transformation.
How AI gets a handle on complex stuff, and then, importantly, how it tailors explanations so you can understand them.
Right. Becoming both the student and the teacher, in a way.
And as learning. A comprehensive roadmap to AI-powered education in 2025 AI Coach really stresses this all hangs on its ability to learn by itself.
Self-directed learning.
Yeah, instead of us feeding it every single detail, it learns, it adapts, and then uses that learning to teach others.
Okay, let's break down that self-learning part first. How does that work?
Well, the AI Coach uses this interesting analogy like AI agents forming specialized teams, almost like classrooms or departments focusing on one subject. And then these teams can connect, forming bigger knowledge hubs like interdisciplinary schools.
So the key insight there is the potential for AI to really master complex fields without needing constant human hand-holding.
Exactly. And what's really powerful is how that mastery then translates into teaching.
Because if it understands something deeply,
It can explain it much better. It can adapt its explanation with incredible precision, fitting it to your learning speed, what you already know, things traditional teaching struggles to do at scale.
that points straight to adaptive learning systems, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Personalization is key.
So how does the AI actually manage this self-teaching trick? The AI Coach talks about the core mechanisms. Let's start with reinforcement learning, or RL.
Right. The basic idea is learning through, trial and error, rewards and penalties.
We've heard about that with games, like AlphaGo.
Exactly. But the deeper insight here, I think, is how sophisticated AI gets at defining its own goals or reward structures within really complex situations.
So it's not just random trial and error.
No, not at all. AlphaGo wasn't just making random moves. It was developing this internal sense of what a good strategic position looked like, leading to moves human masters hadn't even thought of.
Wow. So RL lets AI find genuinely new solutions, pushing past what we programmed into it initially.
Precisely. It's a discovery engine. Then there's self-supervised learning, SSL.
Okay, what's the core idea there?
It's about the AI finding patterns and structure in huge amounts of data without labels. Think about models like GPT.
They predict the next word or fill in blanks in sentences.
Right, but it's not just guessing. To do that well, it has to develop a really deep internal model of language grammar, meaning context. It learns the structure just by looking at tons and tons of text.
So SSL is like the AI learning from observation, absorbing the patterns of the world without explicit instruction, a bit like how we learn.
Sort of, yeah. It learns from the data itself. And building on that is meta-learning.
Meta-learning, learning to learn.
Essentially, yes. The AI optimizes its own learning strategies. The key insight here is efficiency.
How so?
Well, instead of starting from zero every time it faces a new task, a meta-learning system uses its past learning experiences to adapt much faster. It generalizes.
Okay, so it develops learning strategies that work across different problems. That makes sense.
Exactly. Now, how does all this self-learned knowledge actually get transferred? How does the AI teach?
Right, the teaching part. The AI Coach points to natural language processing, NLP.
Yes. And it's more than just spitting out text. It's about crafting explanations that make sense, that are relevant, and crucially tailored to the person listening.
Like explaining quantum physics to a 5-year-old versus a physics student.
Precisely that kind of nuance. The AI needs to generate responses that feel human and are genuinely helpful for that specific learner.
And that adaptive explanation is where those adaptive learning systems come back in.
Absolutely. As the AI Coach discusses, these systems are constantly watching and assessing. How are you interacting? Where are you getting stuck?
And then it adjusts.
Yeah, it dynamically changes the content, the pace, the style of teaching to help you learn better. It's a continuous feedback loop.
Okay, but for the AI to teach effectively, It needs to have its knowledge organized, right? It can't just be a big jumble.
That's critical. Knowledge representation is the term. The AI needs structure so it can quickly find relevant information and, importantly, see the connections between different pieces of information.
How does it do that?
This is where technologies like vector databases come in. They store information based on meaning, allowing for really fast semantic search.
So you can find related concepts even if they don't use the exact same words.
Exactly. And then you have knowledge graphs. These explicitly map out the relationships between concepts like Paris is a city in France.
Ah, okay. So vector databases for finding relevant stuff quickly, knowledge graphs for understanding the connections between things.
Right. They give the AI that structured understanding it needs to build comprehensive explanations.
Makes sense. And the final piece the AI coach mentions is interactive learning and feedback loops.
Yeah, this is crucial. Learning isn't passive. The AI needs to engage you maybe with exercises, questions.
Testing your understanding.
Right. And giving you immediate feedback. Yes, that's right. Or, maybe think about this part again. That immediate correction helps solidify learning.
It really mirrors good human teaching, doesn't it? That interaction.
It does. Active engagement is key.
Okay, so we've got the core ideas. How AI learns itself through RL, SSL, meta-learning, and how it teaches using NLP, adaptive systems, knowledge structures, and interaction. Where are we actually seeing this stuff in the real world?
Well, the AI coach gives some great examples. Think about AI-powered tutors.
Like Khan Academy's Conmigo.
Exactly. Offering personalized lessons, instant feedback, adapting to your pace in a way a single human teacher just can't do for a large class.
And coding assistants too, right? Like GitHub Copilot.
Yeah, that's a huge one. They don't just autocomplete. They understand the context of your code and suggest whole chunks of relevant solutions. They're like real-time coding partners and tutors.
And just general language models, like ChatGPT. People are using them to understand complex topics.
Definitely. You can ask them to explain things in simpler terms, break down dense articles, answer follow-up questions, even generate practice quizzes for you.
The AI coach also mentioned personalized employee training.
Right. Instead of one-size-fits-all training modules, AI can tailor the content to an employee's specific role, their current skills, and the gaps they need to fill. Much more efficient.
Let's quickly revisit some of those core technologies. The AI coach really emphasized reinforcement learning's potential beyond just games.
Oh, absolutely. Its ability to figure out optimal strategies through interaction is huge for robotics, for self-driving cars, even finance. Anywhere you need complex decision-making in dynamic environments.
And self-supervised learning, extracting meaning from unlabeled data.
Super important. Think medical imaging AI helping radiologists spot subtle anomalies in scans that the human eye might miss, or improving speech recognition.
And coming back to knowledge storage and representation, which, as detailed in Learning, a comprehensive roadmap to AI-powered education in 2025 AI Coach by Anil Nathu, seems foundational.
Totally. Vector databases are powering better search engines and recommendation systems everywhere. You search for a concept and it finds things semantically related.
And knowledge graphs.
They're underpinning things like Google Search's ability to understand entities and relationships, helping with fraud detection, connecting research data in science and healthcare. They provide that deeper layer of understanding.
The AI coach also touched on actually designing these AI teachers. What goes into that?
It emphasizes things like, well, obviously the adaptive learning paths we talked about, but also really engaging interfaces, making it intuitive and maybe even fun to interact with.
And feedback.
Constant feedback, both for the learner and for improving the AI itself. It needs to learn how to be a better teacher over time.
It's interesting, the AI coach even lays out a kind of step-by-step guide for building an AI teacher.
Yeah, it gets quite practical, defining the subject, choosing the right AI methods like RL or NLP, picking your knowledge storage, building the interface, setting up those feedback loops. It connects the theory to actually building something.
And lists tools, too.
Mentions things like PyTorch, TensorFlow for the core AI, specific libraries for RL, different large language models like GPT or Llama, vector databases like FAIS or Pinecone, knowledge graphs like Neo4j, tools for building web interfaces. Gives you a sense of the tech stack involved.
So looking forward, what's the big picture the AI coach paints?
A future where truly personalized learning becomes available at massive scale. Imagine having an expert tutor available on demand, 247, for almost any subject, giving you instant feedback.
That could be revolutionary for education.
Absolutely. This convergence of self-learning AI and AI teaching capabilities, as outlined so clearly in the AI Coach by Nil Nathu, really feels like a major turning point.
So, summing up our deep dive into learning, a comprehensive roadmap to AI-powered education in 2025 AI Coach. The key takeaway is that AI isn't just getting better at tasks, it's becoming a self-learner.
Right, capable of mastering complexity and then teaching what it knows in incredibly personalized ways.
It really signals a fundamental shift for the future of education, how we acquire knowledge, how we train people.
And understanding these shifts, these core concepts of how AI learns and teaches, is going to be crucial for, well, pretty much everyone navigating the next few years in tech and education.
The insights from the AI coach definitely provide a solid map for getting your head around these changes.
Yeah, it really does.
It definitely leaves you thinking, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What are the real implications when AI can learn almost anything and then teach it effectively? What does that mean for our own learning, for expertise, for jobs?
Big questions. How do we best position ourselves? How do we leverage these tools in our own lifelong learning journey?
Lots to ponder. Thank you for joining us today. Buy the book at the AI Coach website for more business insights.